on, movie fans? Today I thought I'd do something a little different I've never done before. And I'm going to call this segment... which means I'm going to pick 10 movies that I haven't reviewed this year that I don't feel like deserve a full review description video. So basically I've picked 10 movies. I'm going to give you a very short review about them. This is going to be part 1 of 2 of my rapid reviews. The first movie we're going to get started with is Death on the Nile. That stars Gal Gadot and Armie Hammer. I know really nothing about this movie. I think the guy calls himself Dr. Palville. There's only 2 pairs. I am Dr. Palville, and I am the greatest detective in the world. I know very little about these movies. Basically, it's Clue, but it's a murder mystery. And this was a slug of a film. It was very boring. I thought with the cast that they had, they could have done a good job. The first one, Murder on the Orient Express, was a little better, but this one was not even on that par. It was worse than the other one. I mean, it felt like it was 5 hours long, and it was only about 2 hours, and it just dragged and dragged. And it was so unforgettable, I don't even remember who the murderers were. The editing was very poor. There was no flow. This is all you did the whole time. Just wishing for it to be over. And if you got through the whole thing, congratulations to you. So I'm going to grade Death on the Nile a D+. Jackass Forever came out in February this year. I personally think this was the weakest of the movies, but I understand that they shot this during COVID, so there was a lot they could not do. Also, everyone is very old. If they're going to end it off, I think 3 was a good send-off, but if they wanted to do one more, now's the time, because a lot of the new characters did more of the interactions and the pranks than the old guys. The old guys were just there to hang out. There were still very funny segments in it, and I did enjoy it. I just think out of all the other entries, this would be the weakest entry of the 4 films and the TV show. But if you're a hardcore Jackass fan or a lifetime Jackass fan like myself, you'll definitely enjoy it. I still recommend seeing it. It's fun. There's some great pranks in there. Some of them are pretty gross. Some of them look very painful. That's just Jackass always does a good job at doing that stuff. And it's a great way to say goodbye to these characters the way they probably wanted to do it. So it's the perfect movie to watch with a group of friends. It's just a brainless, fun, let's watch people hurt themselves and do stupid crap thing. That's what the Jackass formula is, and it succeeded in it. I'm going to grade Jackass Forever a C+. Next up on the list is Morbius. Yes, Sony did it. They finally released Morbius after 8 delays. I've never seen a studio keep pushing back a movie over and over and over more than I did Morbius. Looks terrible. The trailer looked unfinished. The CGI looked unfinished. It's like they didn't even spend more time making things look better during all those pushbacks. So I see it, and there's no blood. You know, you're talking about a movie about a vampire. You can question me. You can even correct me in the comments if I am wrong. There's not a single drop of actual blood in this movie. Like, even Jared Leto was going overboard on it. And a funny story is he was so in character that he would walk around on the stilts, like Michael Morbius did in the movie, just to use the bathroom when they're not filming. And I read that the staff would get really pissed off at him because it would take him like an hour to get to the bathroom and back, because he wouldn't break character. Like the choppy editing in the film. There's a big fight sequence at the end with the 2 main characters clashing at each other. And you can't see shit. You can't tell what's going on. The camera is just moving all over the place. And you can't, it's like what I'm doing right now. You can't see anything that's happening. And it's a lot of zoomed in shots of just this. That's what it looked like. And I thought it was horribly edited. I feel like I could have done a better job editing this, because I would have let you see what was going on. And all the action sequences are up close, like when he goes to slit a guy's throat, he gets him in the neck, and the guy starts going like this, and you can't see anything that's happening. You can't see any blood. The character development was terrible. It was very rushed. There's also the things in the trailer, like you see Spider-Man's poster in the background, but they don't even utilize or use that scene in the film itself. I would not recommend anyone to see it. I'm going to grade Morbius an F. Now on the flip side, you have Michael Bay's Ambulance. And we all know what Michael Bay provides. Hot women, people with spray tan, explosions, quick editing, fast-paced action, helicopters, and more explosions. And more explosions, and more hot women. Ambulance was an entertaining movie. It really was, but my God, was it dumb. You probably will have fun watching it. You will not be bored watching it. A girl literally gives somebody heart surgery while talking to a surgeon on a laptop. And she succeeds by taking off her hair clip and placing it on the guy's heart to keep the artery to his heart. You get what you get with Michael Bay, okay? It's explosions and hot women and more hot women and more hot women and more explosions. Even the background extras are all models. There's not a single person in that entire movie that's not attractive. Michael Bay does not hire unattractive people. So if you want that, and you want explosions and quick editing and super stupid dialogue and drones that go 50 miles an hour, this is perfect for you. It's not a terrible movie, but it's not a good movie either. I'm going to grade Ambulance a C-. Now the next movie I'm going to review is Father Stu. What do I say about Father Stu? Well, Mark Wahlberg all of a sudden gets all these morals and he turns into a priest and he is fat. And his dad's Mel Gibson, who they barely have in the movie, but they showed a lot of him in the trailer, which I was expecting a lot of Mel Gibson. And he has maybe 20 minutes of screen time in a 2-hour film. And all the face shots of Mark Wahlberg as Father Stu with the fat prosthetics was this close. I believe in God. I will not sin anymore. Because that's what God wants from me. And if God wants this, then I will obey. Those are the camera angles that are in Father Stu the whole time. So if you liked that, you'll love it. Father Stu is stupid. I don't recommend it to anybody, not even my worst enemy. I don't even know how I finished it. I don't know. I couldn't even answer you if you offered me money. I'd be like, I'm going to grade Father Stu a D. Next is Sonic 2. I played the Sonic games on Sega. They were some of the hardest, most frustrating games I've played. Besides the Mega Mans, those are the hardest. It's a fun movie. I think the voice actors did a great job. I think adding Knuckles to the mix was a great combination. Dr. Eggman's, all his really cool big monster robots, I liked that. They had more of a story in this one. They did have some human nonsense at a wedding party. It was the worst part of the movie. It should have all been cut out. I don't know if they put that in there for adults, but it was just really pointless and it made the movie drag. But besides that, it was great to see Tails and Knuckles and Sonic all come together. And I think for a Sonic fan, this is a very fitting movie. It was very fun, and it is absolutely perfect for families. Jim Carrey, like always, I kind of feel like they went a little overboard with him in this one. That's his thing. That's his niche. He's very over the top sometimes, and he does that. You have to take it for what it is. But I had a good time with Sonic 2, and I recommend it. I'm going to grade Sonic 2 a C+. Now I'm going to review The Northman, which is a great movie. And it's got Anya Taylor-Joy, who I have said I liked. I think this movie was beautifully shot. It had some of the best set design I've seen. It's just impressive to me that a film studio can travel to a location, find a field, and then build all this stuff around it to make it look like what they're trying to portray. And I think there's a lot of conversation that can be brought up when you're done seeing it. It's one of those movies where when you're done, you can go out to dinner really dissect it and analyze it and talk about it. The cinematography and the night stuff was really good. The lighting was almost perfect. It wasn't too bright. In most movies you can tell there's a overhead lamp or a baseball stadium light shining down on them and they try to portray it as the moon. They didn't really do that much in this. That lighting felt very natural. The sword fights were legit. The swords looked very heavy when they would swing them. I think the character's motivation was really good and how he wanted to take revenge about what happened to him. He wasn't just bloodthirsty. He had a goal. He went for it. He met someone along the way, but he was so dedicated to that goal. He couldn't even love this person he met. If I have to die completing this mission, I'm gonna die completing this mission. I thought that was one of the better parts of the film. I think you should watch it and judge it for yourself. I personally liked it, and I do highly recommend The Northman. Very beautifully shot, very good film. I'm going to grade The Northman a B. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent stars Nicolas Cage. This movie is basically Nicolas Cage playing himself. I do appreciate that he can make fun of himself, that he is well aware that he can't say no to a script. Anytime a script comes through his door, he's like, yep, he just doesn't care, and he can laugh at himself about it. Besides that, there's really nothing else to say about this movie. It's okay. It's got very funny moments, but very dull moments that drag. So if you are a massive Nicolas Cage fan, enjoy watching him make fun of himself. I'm going to grade The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent a C. Memory, that stars Liam Neeson. I have no memory of this movie because it was so unforgettable. All I remember is he dies in the end, and he actually played in a movie where he's not trying to save somebody for once in his life. Oh no, wait. He actually did. Never mind. See? I can't even remember what the movie's about. It was terrible. That's how unforgettable it was. I don't recommend it at all. Same with The Blacklight that came out earlier this year. That was a terrible movie too. Liam Neeson, I love you, man. But my God, you gotta stop signing everything that comes through your door, man. You're acting like Nicolas Cage. You gotta stop. You got more talent. You have worked with Spielberg. You have worked with Scorsese. You have worked with Christopher Nolan. You're better than that. In this movie, I have no recollection or memory of what it was about or if it's even good. And I need you to stop signing everything that comes through your door. And me not being able to remember anything about the movie should tell you not to watch it. So don't watch it. So the last movie I'm going to do for my part one of my rapid reviews is Men. This is a tricky one, because Men was very good in some aspects and very bad in some aspects. Where they filmed at was very rich, but they actually found a location that seemed warm and welcoming, but also very creepy, because she would see this large tunnel and the echoing of that tunnel when she screamed. It's not something you'd want to hear. It's very creepy. Some of the decisions they make are interesting. They've never been done before, and I'm giving the movie credit on that aspect that I haven't seen this happen. I'm not going to spoil what that is, but if you've seen this, you know exactly what I'm talking about from the ending. I've never seen that, and I know you haven't either. I'm giving them big props on trying something unique. The problem I have with this movie is its failure to market the film. The marketing was a bad approach, because if you went the route the movie did, then you should have marketed the movie that way. The trailer makes it seem like it's a stalker movie. This girl's afraid of a man who's following her around, and she sees him behind a tree, and she sees him running towards her in a tunnel. It ended up being something that completely different, and it kind of ruined it in a way, because I had my expectations on that, and I do like to be surprised, but when they executed what they were doing, it just was weird. A lot of audience members are not going to really talk about this movie, and it's going to be forgotten about really fast. The character was not that likable. The movie was super vague. It's one of those movies that expects you to watch it 3 or 4 times to figure out what's going on, but there's not enough there that interests you to want to analyze it again. There's not enough information where you're like, well, you just kind of take a guess and you move on from it. I don't want to ruin it, so it's hard for me to explain, but it's not a very engaging film on the aspect of entertainment. It's more of like a mystery. You're always thinking like, oh, this is weird. Why are they talking like this? Is this in her mind? And they really want you to like dig in there and really like take a microscope and just, really analyze every word and every movement and every frame and every picture that they show, because they show a lot of pictures of stuff, and I guess the pictures and the background scenes that don't have characters in them explain a lot of the plot, and a lot of people are just not going to want to do all that, and I understand that, and that's why I'm saying that this movie's kind of like 50-50. It's really awesome in some ways, and it's really bad in other ways. I wouldn't recommend Men to friends of mine who I know aren't movie fans. I would recommend this to like my hardcore movie fans because they'll appreciate it a lot more. I personally thought it was okay, but beyond that, I wouldn't watch it again. The only thing I really liked is I thought the score was very fitting for the scenery as you saw it. Like the score was almost like eye matching to what was happening in front of you. It was a very creepy score, and I liked that about it. And the ending was really weird. Really weird. Maybe that will intrigue you enough to want to see what I'm talking about. Or you just YouTube the ending. So in that, I'm going to grade Men a C. Movie's okay. That's about it.